There we go.
We
But
just
yeah, guys. How you doing?
good. Make sure we in the same direction.
Yes, yes.
Okay, here we go.
Happy Friday. So a lot of questions. Haven't talked to you in a while,
Yeah,
but day going well? Friday going well?
every day's busy.
Okay, okay, all right. Cool. Okay, Mississauga is extending their masking bylaw till March 31st, 2022. Is Brampton going to do the same thing?
So Brampton's masking bylaw hasn't expired yet, but I imagine it will be extended as well. We have great confidence in public health. When public health makes a recommendation, we tend to follow it. But I imagine before our masking bylaw expires, we'll be taking that to our city council to vote on. The last time Peel Public Health asked for an extension, it was unanimously supported 11-0.
Okay. Mississauga and Toronto both have a vaccine mandate for their employees and city employees. Why doesn't Brampton have one?
So Brampton adopted a similar policy to Mississauga.
Okay.
We passed a motion that said we would have an alternative to termination. So Toronto has terminations as a last resort if someone doesn't get vaccinated. Mississauga said that testing would be an alternative. And so in Brampton, we adopted the same model as Mississauga, that testing would be an alternative.
Okay. And then next week, the vaccination certificates come into effect. We've seen protests from anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers at hospitals. You know, we're going to see them, unfortunately, at restaurants, and they're just going to be causing a ruckus everywhere. What do you expect in Brampton, and are the bylaw officers going to be enforcing this and helping out?
So the notion that we'd see our hospitals protested is appalling. The fact that people who have sacrificed so much would have to face that is unbelievable. These protesters should give their head a shake. These are frontline pandemic heroes. In terms of who would handle protests, it would be a combination of the Peel Police and bylaw. But the Peel Police have told me that there is the right to protest. And so it's not like they can cancel a protest, but if a protest got violent or exceeded what was appropriate, then that's when the Peel Police would come in.
Okay. So a lot of restaurants have asked me and in Saga and in Brampton, what happens if a host ask for, the QR code, they say no, right? And then I heard Christine Elliott say, hey, call the police, call 911. And the police were like, that's the first we've heard of this. So, I mean, who's to enforce that?
So the provincial government did say, they're introducing this program for the first time, it did say to call police. The police are funded by the Region of Peel. And I sit on the board of the Region of Peel. There is no resources that have been allocated. I know the government of Canada have said they're going to give $1 billion to the provinces to set up their vaccination policies. There are no details from municipalities right now in terms of how it's going to be enforced. And so our council passed a motion yesterday, a motion put forward by Councillor Peleschi and seconded by myself. Actually, on Wednesday, sorry, not yesterday. On Wednesday, we passed a motion asking for provincial assistance, that there should be resources allocated to this. We would have to hire new bylaw officers if it's bylaw that's going to be doing this. We'd have to hire new police officers if it's police officers doing this. It's not as simple as saying call 911, because I believe if it was one random phone call, then the police could handle it. But my concern is that it'll be more than one random incident, that when this new policy comes in, if you look at some of the very passionate opposition that there is to vaccine mandates, that we could be requiring additional resources for enforcement.
We in Saga called the cops yesterday, and they had no idea Christine Elliott even said that. So it'll be interesting. So let's talk about, obviously
I did have a meeting with the Peel Police today. They are well aware that this was announced. They're not, but they share the concern we have in Brampton that it was not something they were expecting, and there isn't right now resources allocated for it.
Right now in the news cycle, obviously, the brutal kidnapping of Farukh Ali, is all over the news cycle. And I know you knew him. How did you know him?
So it's actually Fakir Ali, not Farukh, but Fakir was an elder in the Pakistani community. I go to events with all the communities, and I've attended a large number of events in the Pakistani Canadian community. He was a big supporter of the diaspora here in Canada. When I met him as a federal member of parliament, he was one of Paul Martin's key organizers, the former Prime Minister of Canada. And when I ran for the Ontario PC leadership and won that leadership in 2014, he had helped coordinate the campaign in Hamilton. And I still see him around when there are Pakistani Canadian events in Brampton. He routinely comes to events in Peel region, and just horrifying to see such a brazen example of violence and gun crime in Hamilton. And your heart goes out to his family. He's lost his son.
Yeah.
He's in critical condition in the hospital, but I hope the police find those responsible for this and hold them accountable, because there can never be any tolerance for violence like this.
We're days away from the federal election. Have you spoken to any of the federal leaders directly about Brampton's needs?
So we met with the candidates aspiring to be MPs, met them all this week at City Hall, and they all signed the Brampton Pledge, which was roughly $1.3 billion in asks for applications from the Government of Canada, current funding applications we have. They all signed the pledge that they will support our applications and ensure that that investment is delivered if they are successful. And we hope that they honor their words. Whatever happens on September 20th, we hope they will honor their word and go to bat for the city of Brampton. I have previously spoken to their leaders about our asks, and it's long overdue to see Brampton get its fair share.
School is back. Public events are back. Are you worried that the numbers will go up, and are you worried that there'll be more lockdowns in the fall?
So I believe in the science behind vaccines. I believe vaccines take what could be a fatal virus and turn it into something more like the common flu. And so what we're seeing right now in our hospital gives me great optimism that we're going to be able to get through COVID. And I ask every week in terms of Osler Health, what the makeup of those who are COVID-19 patients in the hospital and those who are COVID-19 patients in ICU. And by and large, the vast, vast majority every single week are people who are unvaccinated. And so it goes to show that if you get vaccinated, you protect your family, your neighbors, and your community. And so we're reaching very high vaccination levels in Peel region. I don't think our hospital is going to be overwhelmed because so many people sacrificed. I think we're going to still have restrictions because there are those that have not got vaccinated, and it means it continues to circulate. COVID-19 continues to circulate in the community, but I don't think we're going to see the type of lockdowns we saw before, because so many of our neighbors took up the challenge of public health, followed the science, followed the data, and did the right thing and got vaccinated.
We're going to change gears a little bit. Award-winning author Ian Williams this year is the inductee for the Brampton Arts Walk of Fame, joining Russell Peters and Michael Cera and Rupi Kaur. Tell us about him.
Well, we're going to have an official announcement, an official unveiling, so I think it'd be more appropriate to wait for the official presentation of the plaque.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and let's talk about outdoor events, because outdoor events are coming back. Burlington had a food truck festival at Spencer Smith Park. Do you see any major festivals or events happening in Brampton, before New Year's Eve or even New Year's Eve?
Once again, I adhere to the advice of public health, and public health says that outdoor events are relatively safe environments. The more they've studied COVID, the more they realize that transmission outdoors is very difficult. Wind, air helps disperse the ability for the virus to transmit in the manner that you would see indoors. And so I think we're going to continue to see outdoor events and continue to see them encouraged as an alternative to events that would be indoors. Now, obviously, the weather's going to change, and we won't have the same luxury of having outdoor events. But as long as the weather, stays comfortable, I think outdoor events will be quite common.
Cool.
Having said that, in terms of large-scale events, I don't think we're going to see the events and the 10,000 people or thousands of people that we might have seen otherwise if it wasn't for the COVID restrictions.
So New Year's Eve is not happening in Brampton?
I don't see the very large gatherings. So just like we didn't have a Canada Day event that might have attracted, 10,000, 50,000 people, I don't see 10,000 people in downtown Brampton for New Year's Eve.
Okay. And what should we expect Monday? What do you expect Monday?
Well, I've taken a nonpartisan approach to this federal election, simply wanting to highlight the needs that the city of Brampton have. And so I will be following the election closely. But my focus this election has not been to support a particular partisan campaign, but to advocate for the best interests of the city of Brampton.
Awesome. And are you still playing hockey?
Still playing hockey. We actually had a great event last week. We had an Easter Seals tournament. There's 234 kids in Peel Region who have physical disabilities and special needs. And we raise funds to help them go to camp next summer. We raised $68,000, and Doug Gilmore, Wendell Clark, Brad May, Chris Neal, Mike Krusheniski, and a few other NHL alumni came to Brampton to play in a tournament. The Peel Police, the Brampton firefighters, City Hall, local realtors. We had a great group that all came together to support a great cause.
Is that the one where Rowena Santos was a coach?
She was a coach. Councillor Bowman and Paleshi were coaches, and Councillor Willens and myself actually played in the tournament. We all had a blast, and it was a fun way to raise funds for a great cause. Okay, awesome. Did you get a hat trick? I never got a hat. Well, actually, one game I got a hat trick. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Okay. All right. Well, I have to say, those police and fire teams were good. We got smoked by the fire. The City Hall team got smoked by the fire team. Oh, nice. Awesome. Well, Mayor Brown, have a good weekend. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Bye.